Hi there, welcome to the Perfume Experience. My name is Rodney and welcome back to another video. So today we are going to review one of my favorite fragrances. We are talking about Ganymade and we are going to do a review about it and then also do a comparison. We are lucky to have about 6 different houses to compare with, and I really have a fragrance or a couple that are really good, and you will be surprised at the performance. So stay tuned till the very end. So on that note, let's get started. So Ganymade was launched in the year 2019 and it is from the house of marc-antoine. So marc-antoine and Quentin Biche are the perfumers behind Ganymade, and a couple of more from the house. So Ganymade basically is an inspiration behind what would it be to smell space. So Ganymede is the name of Jupiter's moon, and if you look at the notes of this particular fragrance, it tries to resonate what space would be from a point of view of, let's say, minerals. Okay, so we're going to get into the notes and let's understand the fragrance better. From a notes point of view, this particular fragrance has got Chinese mandarin, immortelle, violet leaf, suede, oud, saffron and mineral notes. Now mineral note and saffron are the primary element or the driving force behind this particular fragrance. At the base of the fragrance you have things like immortelle, Chinese mandarin, suede playing like a bass guitarist, and while the top notes like saffron and mineral really drive this particular fragrance. Now in terms of scent profile, this is something that you might have never smelled anything like this before. This could be a very unique, distinct smell, and that's what makes it a fantastic fragrance. Now right at the top you get something like a very woody, sweet, minerally note opening up along with mild florals and that oud playing at the background, and it kind of keeps drying continuously going that way, and projection is like amazing. As the fragrance gets into the dry down, you kind of get a little bit of a powdery vibe. Now when you smell this particular fragrance along with that minerally note, you have a blend of those florals coming in and those suede leather being there. It makes it for a wonderful fragrance that you should definitely experience. Now when I talk about projection, this particular fragrance is a projection beast. You put on 2-3 sprays and immediately for about 3 to 4 feet everybody around you knows that you've got something on you. Okay, some fantastic smelling fragrance. When you talk about mineral note, you should imagine mercury, right? The mineral mercury, when you put it in your hands, you would know that it kind of floats into elements, but then you can't really hold it. So that is the kind of texture that you can imagine when you put on this particular fragrance. The performance is really nice. You get good about 4 to 5 hours easy on this particular fragrance, and the dry down is about at least about another hour, right? So in terms of projection, this is fantastic. What we are basically reviewing today is the EDP version and not the extrait version. Okay, so the EDP is like really good as well. So let's go ahead and look at our clones and see how our clones perform today. It's a very beast mode kind of a fragrance, and it opens on that mineral note along with saffron. That's the predominant note that you get, along with oud and the suede and all of that coming in. Now in my first test I had Arjuna from the house of Project Alt. Okay, I also had Mehdi Hasan's Ganymade, and I had Zidane Bai's Muzna fragrances Ganymade, okay, of the 3. And on the second round of tests that I did, I had Ganymade from the house of DK. I had MA Celestial, okay, thanks to Fragzone for providing this decant. You can contact Fragzone for any decant related queries that you have. And I also had a sample from the house of EM5, okay, so I had these 3 in my second test. Now right at the top, if I can talk to you about scent profile, and if I go from the lowest performing to the best. So if I go with DK's for example has a bit of spice kind of an element to it, and I think it got oxidized, because of which I was not getting the scent profile the right way. The Ganymade DNA is there, but the opening notes has got some kind of a herby texture to it, so that that is very off from the way the OG is smelling. So definitely I would keep DK's Ganymade at the very low end on this particular test. Second would be I would say Mehdi Hasan's. Now Mehdi Hasan's scent profile is good, okay, so it's very close to the OG in terms of the elements, but what it lacks is the projection. Okay, it lacks the loudness what the other fragrances have. This is very mild in terms of the way it performs, in terms of its scent profile. Now this is ideal for somebody who is looking to have a very mild version of Ganymede. Definitely can look at this particular version from the house of Indian Perfumery. Now number 3 from the bottom up is Emir Celestial. The reason being is the mineral note on this particular fragrance is a very important one. That is the unique element on this particular fragrance, and somehow Emir Celestial misses that. It's got the other elements like saffron, suede and all of that, but misses that mineral note. Now surprisingly, EM5's Ganymede was a good balance between both of them, right? So the mineral note and the saffron, all of that, it was carried well. I would say that this was a very big surprise in terms of the way it kind of brought out the scent profile. Now Arjuna definitely from Project Alt is a beast when it comes to Ganymede, and here the problem happens is with the notes. Okay, so this is very heavy on the mineral note. While it leans very heavy on the mineral note, it leans very lightly towards saffron, suede and other things. Okay, so if you want a very strong potent scent profile of mineral, then you can definitely consider this. I found Muzna Fragrances Ganymede the best in scent profile, the exact balance of the saffron notes and of the mineral notes with suede and oud and all of that. I think it's provided a good resemblance to the way OG performs in terms of the scent profile. Very well rounded, very smooth, good scent profile. So my pick for scent profile is Muzna Fragrances Ganymede. Now let's talk about performance. On this particular fragrance, Mehdi Hasan's Ganymede does about 4 hours roughly. Okay, and you get the same amount of 4 hours roughly from Ganymede as well. So similar performance there. Okay, and Emir Celestial does a little better, comes to close about 5 hours time. Okay, Decants, though the scent profile is not that great, but the DNA of Ganymede is still there, about close to about 4+ hours. The two beast mode fragrances here are Arjuna and Muzna by's Ganymede. Okay, now Arjuna, easy 6 hours, powdery mode for another hour, so easily 7 hours time. Zidane by's DNA of Ganymede straight for 7 hours plus. You can easily get powdery notes if you include that for at least 8 hours. So I'm thinking, I mean, what kind of fragrance are these? Like, the performance is just crazy. 7 hours plus on skin. Okay, and apparel you can get a little more as well. So really good performance, especially when you consider 24k for the 100 ml fragrance that you get of the OG. And now when you look at the price points of these in terms of value for money, 50 ml from Muzna comes at 750 rupees. 800 rupees roughly, I would say, for Arjuna from the house of Project Alt. You will probably get it for much lesser than that. Emir Celestial, 1700 rupees for 100 ml. Okay, so that is that. EM5's Ganymede is 900 rupees for 50 ml. Mehdi Hasan is again, I think, about 800 rupees for 50 ml. Okay, DK's 50 ml costs about 1200 rupees. Okay, now that is the story in terms of pricing. Now in terms of presentation, all of them have got similar glass looking bottles except for 2 of them where I feel they are a little apart. One is definitely Arjuna. Okay, because of the sticker, the beautiful artwork that this has, I think definitely scores a little more points. And of course, Emir Celestial for that lovely looking bottle definitely gets top points, right? So that covers in terms of scent profile, that covers our performance, projection, it covers the presentation, and definitely looks at the value for money component. Now let's look at the final ratings of these particular fragrances and see which one really stands out. A small correction in terms of price. So DK's 50 ml is actually 1300 rupees and Mehdi Hasan's 35 ml is about 600 rupees, and I'm guessing 50 ml still should be about 800 rupees. Now in terms of ratings, if I look at the scent profile, I've scored DK 6 because either it's oxidized or it's not right, so it wouldn't be scores less. Okay, so DK is at 6. Mehdi Hasan I've given 7.5. While the scent profile is decent, it's not as loud as the others should be, and probably that balance also still needs to be striked in terms of getting close to the OG. Okay, so 7.5 there. Okay, Emir Celestial is at 8.5. Ganymede by EM5 gets a 9. Arjuna gets a 9. 9.5 is for Muzna because I felt this was the most well-rounded, closest to the OG in terms of its scent profile, right? So scent profile definitely goes to Muzna. Now in terms of performance, clearly there are 2 performance which are really good, 2 fragrances. So Arjuna gets 9 because it's close to about 6 hours and then it's a little powdery. I give it 9.5 to Muzna because even at 7 hours plus, it's easy, good DNA and good projection. And let me tell you something that happened very interesting with this particular fragrances. I got about 8 sprays with me on me, at couple of times. So on 2 different tests, 2 different compliments came across. One, I was on the second floor and my wife was at the first floor. She was just walking up and she could smell the fragrance. She actually came and told me that she could smell the fragrance all the way down on the first floor. So you can imagine the projection. Second, I had been to another small house party where I had worn this, as part of the test, and people across about 3-4 feet were actually able to smell and say, you got some good fragrance on you. So that's the kind of projection this particular fragrance can have at about 5 to 8 sprays easy. Okay, so if you just wear these two, you can just go about 4 to 5 sprays and I think you will be sorted, right? So very, very good projection from both of them. Now in terms of presentation, the pick definitely is Emir Celestial, for definitely gets high points there, and then of course followed by Arjuna. Now in terms of value for money, almost all of them are very close to each other in terms of their price point, except for Decants, which is I think very expensive at 1300 rupees for 50 ml, but the rest of them all almost at the same price points, roughly about 800 rupees for 50 ml or so. Now Arjuna, I'd say that this gets the second place for value for money because this is about 800 rupees, whereas Muzna is 750 rupees for 50 ml, so making it value for money, as the first option there, right? Now, when you look at all of that, I think it's very close between these two, this Arjuna and Muzna, and leading, of course, is definitely Muzna for the Ganymade, and my pick is for Ganymade from the house of Muzna Fragrances, Ganymade, and I think this is a stellar performance from a fragrance. Now this is just the original Ganymade, as in he's got 2 options. He's also got Ganymax, which is also apparently a much bigger performer, but I'm considering only the Ganymade because I think that would be an equal playing field, and this still stands amazing in terms of its projection, the scent profile and the value for money. So if you want to pick for Ganymade, definitely you can consider this as a very balanced version of Ganymade, but if you want slightly mineral heavy, then you can definitely consider Arjuna, right? While Emir Celestial is got a very beautiful fragrance, the bottle and the juice, everything is very nice. The only part is that it's very lower or lighter on the mineral note, which is not what you want. Okay, and you want a very mild version of Ganymade, which is not very offensive to anybody, or very without causing too much distress to others. You can definitely consider Mehdi Hasan's as well. So that is the comparison for Ganymade, and I think it's so nice to see that we have such good fragrance houses delivering such good quality of fragrances, so very close to the OG, right? So when you consider the OG at 24k and at about 800 rupees, if you can get a decent alt of it, which makes life really, really good. Now on that note, I would also like to mention to you that all of these samples are paid for by me. Okay, so this is not a sponsored video, so these are samples that I purchase, these are partials that I buy, and then I do this test. So very happy to do this because this is one of my favorite fragrances, so I'm very, very glad that we have a good alt to choose from, right? Now having said that, if you like the content that I bring, please like and subscribe, because this is really important and this is a big motivation factor for me. I would bring other fragrances very soon as well, like I am considering to do Baccarat Rouge EDP as well, 540. Then we also want to do Acqua di Profumo, we want to do Nishane Ani. All of that is in the pipeline, so definitely subscribe and like and share, so that your friends get to know about this wonderful fragrances from wonderful houses, right? On that note, my name is Rodney. Take care, love, and thank you for watching the Perfume Experience. Bye now.